Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm going to show you how to do a zombie toe wound. Some of the supplies that you're going to need to do is make a gelatin prosthetic using gelatin and glycerin water mixture. Some witch hazel and baby powder to set the prosthetic, using also regular face paints, water-based paints, some blood, and some cream paint as well. Also using your favorite brushes. I use a toothbrush to do some of the blood splatter. I also use some liquid latex to add some dimension and to stick to the prosthetic a little bit better. First start out, we're going to paint your toenail. That's going to be the bone sticking out of the wound. You want to use a white or even like a little off-white over it. It's going to get put under the prosthetic gelatin piece a little bit, but you want it to stick out. So the brighter white it could be, the more it'll stand out once you're done. You're going to heat the gelatin mixture. At first when I did this, it didn't come out as heated as I should have got it. So if it's a little sticky and sticking together, you can reheat it. That's the great thing about when you make a gelatin mixture, you can reheat it and get it to the consistency that you want to be able to easily spread it. So you're going to apply some pressure and spread it. You want to layer it so that it creates texture. So you're going to put it all around the toe, from the sides and the front, pulling it along, pull and drag it. Again, don't worry about any kind of specific direction that it's supposed to go in, because it's supposed to just kind of layer itself and create depth of the wound, because it's gonna, when it's done, it's gonna look like that's all skin that's just tore up and munched out. Again, if it's not spreading like you want it to, you can reheat it. That annoying little piece, I cut it off later, so don't worry about it. If it's not cooperating, just cut that little piece off and add some more. Don't worry. The witch hazel you use, you want to apply quite a bit to the Q-tip, and this part when I use it, I didn't quite apply too much, but later on you'll see the effect that it has on the glycerin or the prosthetic piece. It will soften the edges so that it's easier to blend. So just apply a little more liquid, a little more witch hazel to the cotton swab, and it'll help to blend it. Then I went ahead and applied some liquid latex. I did this for a few reasons. Because it's on your toe, it's going to move around a lot, and you know, whether you're wearing shoes or not wearing shoes, when you wear this piece, you want it to stick. So I did use the liquid latex and kind of stick it underneath the gelatin prosthetic piece a little bit, so that way it also acts as an adhesive. Try not to get it all over the nail per se, but just, you know, around all the edges of the skin. And again, spreading it out so that you're kind of blending it into the skin a little bit, and you can layer that. This also again adds some texture. Then like I said, you can reheat your latex or your prosthetic gelatin, and you're going to apply a little bit more to bring it down a little bit onto the foot. And as you see, I warmed it a little bit better so that it spreads a little bit easier. So just be careful. It is hot. It's warm, so you don't want to burn yourself, and you don't want to overdo it. When you warm it up, you should only be warming it about 10 seconds at a time, stirring it and making sure that you're not burning. You don't want to boil it. So spread it out, spread it so that you can get some thin edges. Then adding the little wound piece here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You spread it and then you just kind of mold it the way you make it. If it's not quite right, take it off and do it again. It's really workable to just take it off and put it back on. Applying again the latex, again for adhesive purposes and also to blend it into the skin a little bit more. And just get those edges, bring them down. That way you can blend. You want it to be somewhat seamless, but it doesn't have to be perfect because again, it's a wound. When we cut ourselves, you know, the skin tears, so that's okay. So again, using the witch hazel, you can see I applied more liquid to the Q-tip, and I'm able to press down and blend some of the thicker edges to blend it out a little bit and make it a little more blended into their natural skin. Okay, do the same thing on the wound. Doesn't really need it as much. Again, with the latex, it kind of helps to kind of blend it already, so it looks pretty good. Okay, next you're going to go ahead and set it. You want to use the baby powder, any powder. You can use loose face powder. This just helps to set it so it's not so sticky. You'll see that the latex and the gelatin can be kind of sticky, tacky, so you just want to set it. So just applying the powder just helps to set the piece. Next, you're going to use your paints, and this is a black and red. I just mix them together. You want to start off with the dark color, so you're going to mix more black and then red together. And where I'm applying this is into the deepest parts of the prosthetic piece. So this is going into the deep parts, the grooves, the inner outline of the nail, so that it adds depth to the wound. You're going to do that both on the toe and to the wound, the center wound on the foot. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to blend this all together. It's really just going to be outlining it, adding the depth in there so that you have dimension, and it looks like a deep wound when it's darker in the middle. So it's more of a deep dried blood in the middle. Then once you do that, you'll go back and add a little more red to the brush. You're going to add a little bit more color. So again, you can see I'm mixing more red to add, again, some more color to it, a little more dimension, going over the tops a little bit. And then taking a sponge, and you're going to blend it together. Don't drag the sponge. You're going to tap it. You're going to stipple so that you're lightly blending it. You don't want to pull on the piece and drag it across. So make sure that you're stippling, adding more red, and going outside of the wound as well, because you're going to do a bruise effect as well. So I'm taking the Ben Nye purple, the bruising, and we're going to put that all over, stippling again. And this is a coarse sponge. You can use a variety of different sponges, but you don't want it to be a smooth effect. You want it to look blotchy. So taking this one, and it is a cream type base makeup, so just putting it around the wound, adding that deep bruise effect. And then we're going to go ahead and add some yellow. Typical bruise colors is going to be purple, yellow, sometimes blue. The darker colors are more to the center of the wound, and then lighter colors on the outside. And And again, you're just stippling and blending them together. And you can stipple some of that onto the prosthetic piece as well. Try to keep not too much paint onto the toe part because you want that bone to stick out. But it's okay if there's some color on it. Obviously, if it's a broken bone, you're going to have some blood on it and some skin and flesh and so forth. The brush has no paint on it. It's just a dry brush, and I'm just kind of pulling the color and blending it out a little bit. Adding more water to the red so that I can get a pool of color. I took a very coarse toothbrush that I use. It's a baby toothbrush. It's a firm bristle, and I just soak it with color. And then you're going to slide your fingers along the bristles and splatter randomly all over the wounds. There's different ways that people like to do blood effects. I like this way. It seems easier and it gives a good splatter effect. Make sure the area that you're working on, you don't mind to get paint because it will go all over. I added more red as well so that it adds different colors, different layers of the blood. That way you are getting, again, more dimension in the color. And I went in with the toothbrush and just kind of pulled the color through into the deepest parts, making sure that there's no flesh color showing on the prosthetic piece, on the gelatin. And then if you lightly pull the toothbrush along the skin, you're going to have these scratch effects. So, you know, like if you fell and hurt yourself, you're going to have scratches usually as well. So you can make some scratch marks. And again, you want to use different tones. So a little bit of dark on there, some bright red to make those scratch marks. Here comes the blood. The good part. So it's going to make it nice and juicy now. Using the blood gel. I really like the blood gel because it stays. It really sticks into the pieces. So you want to apply this around the nail, which is your bone sticking out, and into all the deep parts again of the wound. So this blood is really cool because it doesn't run. It won't be running down your foot or anything. It stays in place. So you're going to apply that to all the deepest parts of the wound, a little bit on the outside. Just put it in there with the cotton swab, get it all nice and muddied. I mean, don't overdo it where you're hiding all of your other work. You want to just, it's going to accent it. And then I'm going to use some regular liquid blood. And this is the kind that runs. So if you don't want it to run over, you know, anything, you can skip this because this will not dry. It just keeps pretty liquidy and will run everywhere. So I just added a couple of drops just for effect, and you can just angle your foot so it naturally does a running down effect. And that pretty much finishes it, you know. Add the blood where you want. And there you go. You got a gooey, zombie, fleshy, cut wound, funky toe. Go get your pedicure on and see what the pedicurists say about your beautiful foot. Hope you liked it. Hope you learned something. Feel free to subscribe and like and give any feedback.